So let's talk a little bit about right hand technique when you're not using the pick. Now, I'm a jazz guitar player, and in between there I spent some time studying some classical guitar technique, but I never studied with a teacher. It was always self-taught, which means that my technique is probably not perfect and probably not great, but I do use this technique, as many jazz players do, particularly solo guitar players, because it gives them a different sound quality, a warmer sound, if you will, than what you do when you're getting a pick. Here's a C major 7 chord with the pick. Here's that same C major 7 plucked with the fingers. It's a little softer in volume, but it's also a little warmer in sound. And you might notice I also get a little bit of an arpeggiation in there too. It helps add to the rhythmic quality of what's going on. And what I found was, if you go back and watch Joe Pass, the great solo guitar player, I remember seeing him way back when he was very young, seeing videos of him when he was playing mostly with a pick. And then later on I got to see him live, and he was playing with a pick when he was playing single lines and playing with his fingers when he was playing chordal material. So what he would do would take the pick, put it in his mouth, and he'd be playing chords, grab the pick from his mouth, and play fast single note lines. So he was going back and forth. At some point in his career, he focused entirely on his fingers, and later on in his career when he was playing solo guitar material, he played almost entirely with his fingers. So let's talk a little bit about my picking and finger picking technique and how I cross between the two. The picks that I have, the two that I use here, one of them is a plexiglass pick that has some holes in it that helps me grip the pick a little bit better. And particularly in the wintertime in New England, when the rooms get very dry because the heat is constantly on, your hands get a little bit dry and slippery. And so it's easy for picks to fall out of your hands when you're not wanting them to. So I like this plexiglass one because it gives me a little bit of grip. I also have this red jazz pick that has some raised writing on it, and that does the same thing for me. But I've found that in the real extreme weather, when my hands get very slippery, the plexiglass holds a little bit better. I keep switching back and forth between them. That's just my prerogative. I can remember traveling to Costa Rica with Berklee to do some clinics. A student was asking me, what do I do with my pick when I go from playing with the pick and using picking strokes and then going to using my fingers when I'm playing fingerstyle? And it had never occurred to me before that I actually do this, but I looked down and I realized that I had been putting the pick in between my first and second fingers. And so when I'm playing fingerstyle, my hands are there and the pick is being held in there. When I need that for picking, I just grab it like this. So it keeps going back and forth between my hands, almost like a magician's sleight of hand. And it puts your first two fingers exactly where they need to be to play two consecutive strings together. Now you can't separate them, of course, because then your pick is going to fall out of your fingers. But if you're playing fingerstyle, and then you grab the pick, it's there when you need it.